It is Friday, World Economic News. The Financial Times Alphaville. From Ireland to 2,000 billion euros worth of euro contagion. Let Ireland default? Not a chance. With Irish 10-year yields approaching 9%, RBS's Jacques Caillot has come down firmly on the other side of what to do about Ireland, advocating more Eurozone intervention. This is from RBS, who are effectively owned by the UK government. In a Thursday note, The Economist asks, does the ECB understand the concept of contagion? And calls for the central bank to ramp up its securities purchases. Bit I've grabbed out of it. The ECB's lack of action is puzzling, to say the least, and begs the question as to whether it's fulfilling its financial stability mandate. With 3 countries in the euro area now having virtually lost all access to capital markets, the implications for the region as a whole could easily become systemic again. Let us recall that there is euro 2 trillion. There's 2 trillion euro of debt securities issued by Spain, Portugal, Ireland and Greece in the hands of financial institutions resident outside of these countries, like RBS in the UK. 2 trillion. That is a stuffing big number. If that's not enough to worry about financial contagion, what is? Bleats RBS. Please, Daddy Central Bank, come and bail us all out. It's pathetic. Moving on to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, who have got out now their tentative outright Treasury operation schedule. For QE2, across all operations in the schedule listed below, the desk, the New York Fed, plans to purchase approximately $105 billion of securities. This represents $75 billion of purchases of the announced $600 billion purchase program and $30 billion of principal payments from agency debt and agency MBS expected to receive between mid-November and mid-December. And it's got the dates for everything: November the 12th, 6 to 8 billion, November the 15th, 7 to 9 billion, November the 16th, 4 to 6 billion, November the 17th, 7 to 9 billion, November the 18th, 6 to 8 billion, November the 19th, 1.5 to 2.5 billion only. Presumably they're going to have a half day and go to the golf course after that. Anyway, you can read it if you've got absolutely nothing better to do. Of two minds, Charles Hugh Smith, who's a good writer. The Federal Reserve stated goals in launching QE2 were to trigger a wealth effect. Yes, that's what Bernanke said, and boost inflation. The basic idea is that goosing risk assets, i.e. stocks, then consumers will feel wealthier and thus motivated to open their wallets and spend. As I often report, only the top 10% of households own enough equities to feel wealthier, so the Fed's central faith is doubly a trickle-down theory. Only the top 10% can possibly experience a wealth effect from QE2. And we get the classic chart. Pie chart, top 1% have got 43% of financial wealth, the next 4% have got 29%, the next 5% have got 11% of financial wealth, so 11, 40, 80, the top 10% in the United States have got 83% of financial wealth. Repeat, top 10% have 83% of financial wealth, and there's a little segment up there for the bottom 80% who have got 7% of the financial wealth. They are not going to get their assets goosed. They're going to get their something else. Business Insider. New report warns of unprecedented... I've got this next because the poorer people don't have most of their money in asset wealth, bits of paper. They have it actually in bricks and mortar if they have it in anything, the middle class. So we get new report warns of unprecedented decline in home values and no stabilization in Q3. Zillow just released a devastating third quarter housing report. Basically every major indicator is crashing. The decline in home values accelerated in September. Foreclosures reached an all-time high, and a record of now 23.2% of mortgages are underwater. They have actually. They've taken a real nasty little kick down. Sorry. Okay, we're going to finish here, but it's going to be a long article, sections from a long article from the World Socialist website, Marxist, all that sort of stuff. You remember them. Entitled, China Report Exposes Foxconn's Oppressive Work Regime. And on the website, the numbers changing will be for various pictures that I've got from Bloomberg of Foxconn's operation. A report published last month on labour conditions inside the Chinese factories of giant electronic manufacturer Foxconn has provided graphic details of the oppressive regime faced by hundreds of thousands of young employees. The investigation followed widespread anger in China and internationally over a series of suicides by Foxconn employees earlier this year. Do you remember? The investigation, I'm just cutting bits out because you can go to the link on the website and read the whole thing. The investigation, conducted from June to August, was carried out by 60 academics and students from 20 universities in China, Hong Kong and Taiwan. It involved surveys of 1,736 workers in 12 factories based in 9 different cities, and 19 members of the investigation team worked at Foxconn over several months. The Foxconn empire is the world's largest outsourcer for the production of electronic goods for major international corporations such as Apple, Dell and Nokia. The vast majority of Foxconn's 900,000 plus employees are between the ages of 16 and 24. The report found that many workers are student interns. Most student interns are from technical schools. Aged between 16 and 18, they are forced to work on the assembly line for up to 2 years. With no contracts or legal rights, the interns are on the lowest monthly pay scale of, in the United States dollars, $180 a month. $180 a month. Students are only the most exploited of the Foxconn workers. Surveys showed that 73% of employees work 10 hours or more a day. Average overtime is 83 hours a month. Moreover, by setting unrealistic workloads for each shift, Foxconn forces workers to carry out voluntary overtime without pay until the quotas are met. The investigation found that since the scandal over suicides, Foxconn has only intensified workloads in the name of cutting overtime hours. A worker from the giant Longguna complex in Shenzhen explained, "Simple. You must finish in 5 days what was in for 6 days. The order is the same, the production time has been shortened, and naturally our output in a given time has increased." As a result of their low pay, most workers are forced to live in crowded factory dormitories. On average, each worker has space of about 2 square meters. That's just smidging over 2 square yards. And in the photographs that you'll see are now the famous suicide nets that have been put outside the windows of the multi-story dormitories. Foxconn's philosophy, yes, it's got a philosophy. Foxconn's billionaire CEO Terry Gou has elaborated a corporate philosophy, a business code that sums up and justifies the military-style regime enforced in the company's factories. One of his sayings is, "Democracy is the most inefficient thing in the world." Foxconn regime includes any say by Foxconn regime excludes any say by workers. It's a ruthless system of rules and punishments. According to Guo, workers do not need an independent mind. They are to strictly follow management's instructions and mechanically repeat a few simple operations. Workers can only enter their work zones after passing through multiple security checks. Like an army, workers and managers are strictly organized into a hierarchy of ranks with different uniforms and different rights. The report declares, this is towards the end under tame conclusions, the report declares that the black hand behind Foxconn is the monopolistic capitalist mode of production, and unless such a mode of production is changed, new tragedies are inevitable. It points out, in the global chain of industries dominated by transnational corporations, manufacturing is at the lowest end of the rate of profit, with the lowest wage for workers. By threatening to shift their orders, transnational corporations force their suppliers in China to lower wages, prolong working hours, and intensify workloads. Just a reminder, just in case we were forgetting, just for Foxconn alone there are over 900,000 employees, and those students are on $180 a month. And seeing I've stolen so much from this article, it's only right that I read the last two paragraphs. Even in the unlikely event that the CCP, and obviously China, bureaucracy were to implement some or all of the report's proposals, the present capitalist mode of production will continue to reproduce the oppressive conditions faced by hundreds of millions of workers in China. Given the deepening crisis of global capitalism, however, the ruling elites in China, like their counterparts around the world, will continue to intensify their exploitation of the working class. The only means of ending capitalism is through revolutionary overthrow by the working class to combat the giant transnational corporations that dominate the global economy. The only alternative is for workers in China to unite with their class brothers and sisters around the world on the basis of a socialist and internationalist program. But maybe you're alright. Have a good weekend. Bye.